Members, good morning. This is the appointed time. We have a quorum. I call to order the meeting of the panel on security. We will receive policy briefing from the administration. The room has been reserved for the next meeting at 10:30, so we must adjourn at 10:30. Information paper issued since the last meeting. That's item 1 on the agenda. One paper has been issued, and that's the administration's response to the issues of concern raised in the joint letter dated the 1st of September 2025 from Mr. Dennis Leung and Mr. Bill Tang, LC paper number CB-21749/2025-01. Now, if you would like to respond to the administration's response, please inform the Secretariat before 5 p.m. the 23rd of September. In fact, as of the deadline stated, no response or comments were received by the Secretariat. Now, this is about a task force to tackle illegal employment. And the task force is led by the Secretary for Security. I believe he will go through this topic with us in a moment. The next item is briefing by Secretary for Security on the Chief Executive's 2025 policy address. I will invite the administration to come in now. All members of this council have been invited to join our discussion. Meanwhile, let me welcome the Secretary for Security and his team to our room. We're joined by Mr. Tan Ping-kong, Secretary for Security, Mr. Patrick Lee, Permanent Secretary for Security, Mr. Michael Chap, Under Secretary for Security, as well as Deputy Secretaries, Ms. Viga Wong, Mr. Howard Yam, Ms. Joyce Chan, Mr. Benjamin Mock, as well as Mr. Kesson Lee, Commissioner for Narcotics, and Mr. Jack Ho, Administrative Assistant. Welcome. Now, as discussed at the previous meeting, members may also follow up on 2 other items proposed to be discussed within this term, and that is the latest update on handling of non-refoulement claims in Hong Kong, and also further opening up of the frontier closed area. Now, when the Secretary is ready, may I invite him to walk us through the paper CB-21792/2025-01. Members, if you want to speak, please press the request to speak button now. Over to you, Secretary. Good morning, Chair, members. This is the last meeting of the panel on security of this term of LEUNG. I'd like to thank members for your support and your invaluable views in the past year. I remember we examined the Safeguarding National Security Ordinance, as well as the subsidiary legislation, and also the critical infrastructure computer systems ordinance, as well as amendments to the fire safety ordinance. I received your valuable views, which provided great help to our work. I'd also like to thank Chair and members for supporting our work on safeguarding national security and maintaining public safety and order. Now, I'd like to go through the Security Bureau's 5 major policy areas in this year's policy address. The first policy area is safeguarding our country and home. We will continue to resolutely safeguard national sovereignty and security and development interests. We will also punish acts endangering national security, and will continue to mount publicity and public education. We've published the National Security Comic Series, Andy and Security Bear, and in fact, this year we plan to hold a drama performance for primary students And adopting the same series as a blueprint, we will encourage the younger generation to take part in the drama performance so as to encourage them to proactively shoulder the important mission of safeguarding national security. And also 1880 volunteers from the Security Bureau Youth Uniformed Group Leaders Forum will also participate in the Andy and Security Bear workshops in kindergartens so as to convey the message to the youngsters. We plan to submit the amendment bill relating to sexual offences in the first quarter of 2026 with a view to completing the legislation within the current term of the government. And in terms of artificial intelligence police post, we plan to set up an intelligent virtual police ambassador through voice interaction. In the second quarter of 2026, we plan to set up this first AI police post at Central MTR Station. And we'll also actively implement the pilot scheme for drone piloting, drone policing. Within this year, after introducing the scheme in the Border District and Kowloon West region, we will further expand the coverage to Cheung Division and Central District, and we will set up the working group on virtual assets intelligence to combat crimes. We'll work with stakeholders and the sector, and through sharing of information, we will make a concerted effort to combat crimes relating to virtual assets. We'll continue to mount anti-drug efforts. We adopt the slogan, "Accommodate, don't vape it, or you'll die like a zombie," in publicity materials. On combating illegal employment, I emphasize that this is a serious crime. Employers and those who connive or condone illegal employment will also be subject to prosecution. And this month, we set up an interdepartmental task force against illegal employment. So we've set up a dedicated hotline, and that's 38615000 for reporting illegal workers. Now, we also continue to take a multi-pronged approach to handle torture claims in an efficient manner. We want to reduce the financial incentive for non-fulfillment claimants so as to drive down the arrivals and lower the burden for our society and minimize risks to public security. As for Fire Services Department, we will set up we will introduce a pre-hospital stroke diversion scheme so as to make sure that the patients receive the necessary help within the golden period for treatment. For correctional services and rehabilitation services, one-stop service will be provided for those with imprisonment term of less than 1 year, so as to reduce the chance of reoffending. The third theme is that we will relax the criteria, and that we will open up the shuttlecock frontier closed area and apply facilitation measures. We'll also implement collaborative inspection and joint clearance mode at new boundary control points. I will continue to ensure that the new Hong Kong port meets the condition for completion and commissioning within this term of government. We've reached consensus to adopt the cross-river construction approach for shuttlecock control point. And this the study will be conducted, and it is expected to be completed within 2025. In the first quarter of 2026, the Immigration Department will also introduce or enhance the e-channel service. For example, 26 additional e-channels will be provided at the Hong Kong International Airport. The existing e-channels will be replaced as well. We'll also relax the eligibility criteria for visitors to enroll in the service. Those who have visited Hong Kong via Hong Kong International Airport for no fewer than 3 times will be relaxed to no fewer than 2 times in the past 24 months. We have also launched a one-stop clearance platform called Easy Boundary to provide real-time clearance updates and other useful information. We also make use of live images and advanced technology such as AI to assess the real-time clearance situation at land BCPs. Now, after delivery of the policy address, we've relaxed the criteria for nationals of Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan for applying multiple entry visas to Hong Kong for business and travel purposes. We've also relaxed the workflows for temporary or streamlined the workflows for temporary place of public entertainment license applications by the FSD. By the end of 2025, the Registered Fire Engineer Scheme of the FSD will also be introduced. Qualified personnel may be registered as RFEs for the conduct of fire safety, risk assessment, and certification services. The fourth theme is making good use of technology. As of the 31st of August 2025, the police had detected 433 cases and arrested 787 persons with the aid of CCTV cameras under the Smart View program. We will continue to expand Smart View, and we will install 20,000 more cameras annually, and a total of 60,000 cameras will be installed to cover the entire city in 2028. We'll also fully digitalize the application procedures for certificates of no criminal conviction. There is no need to provide fingerprints. One can apply online via the IM Smart. On fire safety works, more support will be provided to owners, and we'll introduce an Internet of Things fire detection system for old buildings as an alternative to traditional fire service installations and equipment. For buildings, for units below the 6 stories, owners may be spared from installing equipment such as fire hose reels, fire service water tanks, and fire pumps. The FSD plans to introduce drones with higher payload capacity for transporting heavy-weighted rescue equipment. We'll also introduce automated drone docks so that regular patrols by drones can be conducted at countryside, etc., and to achieve early fire detection by leveraging AI technology. Now, on new clearance mode, in September 2025, a new e-channel feature was introduced at the arrival hall of the Hong Kong IA, enabling Hong Kong residents to complete identity verification and arrival clearance via facial recognition technology upon arrival without having to present any document. The Immigration Department will also establish Hong Kong's first contactless clearance pilot at the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, Hong Kong Port, which enables ID verification via facial recognition, so that you don't need to stop to go through the immigration clearance. Now, we plan to implement the scheme for use by eligible Hong Kong residents in the second quarter of 2026. We also plan to introduce customs AI-powered video big data analytics system in the fourth quarter of 2026 for Lo Wu control point and Lok Ma Chau spur line control point, so as to identify high-risk individuals. Now, the fifth theme is about telling good stories of Hong Kong. We will host international conferences and establish international associations. For example, we will set up international associations, academies to foster greater collaboration and exchanges among disciplined services worldwide. In 2026, we will arrange for at least 2,000 members of uniformed groups to take part in international and mainland exchanges programs. And I have just gone through the 5 major policy areas. We've also formulated key performance indicators. They're set out in the paper. I urge members to support our initiatives so that we can strive for economic development, improve people's livelihood, and actively dovetail with the national strategy.
Thank you, Secretary, for briefing us on the 5 major areas, that is safeguarding our country and home, fighting crimes and responding to emergencies, bringing convenience and facilitation to the public and businesses, making good use of technology, and telling good stories of Hong Kong. And also KPIs have been set for the measures under the 2025 policy address. The progress of meeting these KPIs have also been set out in the paper. I will now open the floor. There are 11 members. I will give each member 4 minutes, including questions and answers. They are Mr. Ka-piu, Professor Chow Man Kwong, Dr. Dick Chi Yuen, Mr. Perry Yiu, Choning Benson Look, Ma Fong Kwok, Deputy Chairman Mr. Yang Wing Kit, Ms. Doreen Kong, Dennis Leung, and myself. Mr. Ka-piu, 4 minutes. Thank you, Chair. I would like to know more about how the government is dealing with scam, which is running rampage in Hong Kong. There are also a lot of financial scams. So in terms of insurance, at present, there are no dedicated offences targeting insurance offences, nor is there dedicated enforcement agencies to conduct investigation on financial scams. We are still prosecuting the crime with other offences under the theft ordinance. For a very long time in the past, the insurance sector considers that the government's enforcement efficiency is not very high. The prosecution number is also low. That's mainly because we lack a dedicated piece of offense. In foreign countries like the UK, there are specialized offenses targeting insurance fraud. So will the government consider introducing dedicated offenses to target insurance scams? And will there be a dedicated team under law enforcement agencies to deal with insurance scammers? Now, the Commercial Crime Bureau has been communicating with our association to crack down on insurance scams. However, after referring cases to them, there are very few cases which the police can prosecute because of lack of evidence. So, can the government step up on the work? Secretary, thank you. Scam accounts for 48% of our total crime, so we attach importance to cracking down on scams. Insurance scam is one of such offenses. Now we have a dedicated team under the Commercial Crime Bureau to deal with this sort of crimes. So as Mr. Ka-piu said, we do keep close communication with the industry. Now so far, we don't see a lot of obstacles in prosecuting insurance scam by using the theft ordinance. Now, there are lots of different scams, for example, credit scams and insurance scams. So usually, our existing fraud offences can already cover these crimes. We have yet to encounter any insurance scams which cannot be prosecuted under the theft ordinance. Now, if there are emerging situations which warrant legislation, we will consider it. Now, actually, not all insurance scams will be dealt with by the Commercial Crime Bureau. But there is a crime bureau under each district. So the Commercial Crime Bureau would provide training to other frontline police officers in the Crime Bureau to tackle insurance scams. Any new suggestions from Mr. Chen LEUNG? I know that there are such investigative teams in each district. However, they would usually reject our complaints because they would say there are no victims yet. So I hope that we can collaborate more closely and come up with something more efficient. Next, Professor Chang Kong. Thank you, Chair. Now, in the report just now, the government said that they would enhance the efforts on cracking down on illegal employment. There is a hotline and there would be more interdepartmental actions to crack down on illegal workers. Now, in August this year, the Immigration Department has conducted a joint operation. 1,800 locations were investigated. 67 employers and some 1,300 illegal workers were arrested. So which industries have the most serious problem of illegal workers warranting our attention? Now also there will be an interdepartmental task force against illegal employment. So what will this interdepartmental task force do? Deterrence is important. Say construction industry and the renovation industry, if illegal workers suffer an injury or even fatal incidents, the employers have to take legal liability. They need to understand that there is no cap on the compensation. Now, between January and August this year, the number of scam cases in Hong Kong has recorded a drop. But there is always room for improvement. I'm personally involved in assisting the police force to conduct seminars in schools. I think the response is very well. We have been using questionnaires and also promoting anti-scam apps to students. But can we do more in terms of intercepting scams at source, especially inviting students to call for assistance as soon as possible, and also intercepting the transfer of scam money? Now, finally, I would like to thank the Secretary and your colleagues in terms of enhancing cross-boundary customs clearance. Now, after the Liantang BCP is closed after 10 p.m., the Huanggang port is still operating. However, the industry considers the 2-hour gap between 10 p.m. and 12 a.m. inconvenient, so can we do a better interfacing job? Secretary, thank you. In terms of illegal employment, we are extremely concerned about this issue. This is a crime and it will also affect local employment. So that's why we have set up an interdepartmental task force against illegal employment. Now, as we have been doing in the past, the Immigration Department and the police force, as well as the Labor Department, would conduct joint operation. Other departments would help as well, but in terms of intelligence sharing, for example, online ride-hailing and food delivery platforms. So that's why we have set up this interdepartmental task force to facilitate intelligence sharing. And also, the platform would allow departments to remind each other of loopholes. For example, online ride-hailing platforms drivers. So the TLB has advised the industry to adopt facial recognition to prevent against illegal employment. And we are also making good use of technology, for example, facial recognition. We also have a hotline. 2 weeks on, we have received some 100 inquiries. Please allow me some more time to answer the on the two questions. Yes, I'm very interested about the Interdepartmental Task Force Against Illegal Employment as well. What about the hotline? The hotline is 3861-5000. 3861-5000. That's the hotline. Through the platform, we hope we can crack down on illegal employment more effectively. The number of cases prosecuted has risen. Since in August, we have conducted 12,000 actions and arrested 756 illegal employees and 127 employers. We are also prosecuting employers who employed illegal workers on an equal basis. The second question on scams. It is the trend to make use of technology. For example, we have these scam meters and the other applications to crack down on apps. Now, some victims in scam cases are mainland students. So we have some programs with the universities. The students need to complete the questionnaires in the materials we provided to the universities before they can use library services. And also, when mainland students, apply for a visa in the mainland, they would already be given information packages. Now, about the BCP's operating hours, we are aware of the situation. We are studying with the relevant departments whether we can provide a more seamless experience. Thank you. Next, Dr. Tik Chi-yun. Thank you, Chair. First of all, I welcome the government's plan to conduct a public consultation on sexual offences. I hope that this will be completed within this term of the government. This has been something that many organizations have been calling for a long time. I have three questions. In 2006, the Law Reform Commission has made some recommendations according to the UK's law. But that was a long time ago. Are the legislative amendments which are going to be introduced most up-to-date, in particular sexual offences in relation to internet crime? So I think this is something worth paying attention to. Is the framework up-to-date rather than an outdated model based on the situation in 2006? Now, this issue is very niche and the impact can be far-reaching. So what is the arrangement for public consultation and the timetable, and who will be consulted? Third, after the public consultation exercise, the bill will be debated as the LEUNG. So I hope there would be a detailed report on the views received during the consultation so that LEUNG members can understand the public's views on the matter more clearly. Secretary, thank you, Chair. Concerning the review on sexual offences by the LRC, it was between 2012 and 2020. 4 consultations have been conducted and 2 reports have been published. 72 recommendations have been made. We have already implemented some recommendations, for example, the offense of voyeurism, and also registry of sexual offenders. Now, Dr. Tik asked whether the framework is up to date. That is for sure, because society has been evolving all the time. But the basis of the legal framework is still the same. It's mostly about the definitions and the principal issues. For example, there will be no distinction between genders. For example, at present, rape can only be committed by males. But this is an outdated definition. So principal matters will not change drastically. However, we will review the latest developments in the world and make according changes. In terms of timetable, we hope that the public consultation can start in the first quarter of 2026 when the new term of LEGCO has come into office. And naturally, we will compile a detailed report to the new batch of LEGCO members, together with the recommendations. We will explain our recommendations clearly before introducing the bill. We hope that we can complete the exercise within this term of the government. This has started since 2012. Thank you.
A short follow-up question. You mentioned the first quarter. Can you tell us exactly what the timetable will be? How long will the public consultation period be, in other words? We haven't decided the period yet, but it will take at least a month. Apart from public consultation, we'll also seek views from the sectors as well as other stakeholders. Next, Mr. Ka-piu. Thank you, Chair. I thank the Security Bureau for the long-term support given to the tourism sector. Now, in this year's policy address, the Security Bureau will relax the threshold for applying for visas. The FCAs will be further opened up. There will be also new BCP infrastructure. The development will be expedited. All these can help enhance tourist experience. I'd also like to thank your frontline colleagues for their traffic management efforts, especially during the Golden Week. You've stepped up publicity and promotion to raise the awareness of tourists on traffic rules to ensure safety. Now, I have a follow-up question. You will relax the visa criteria for the 4 countries in Central Asia, especially the threshold will be relaxed to at least 2 visits within the past 24 months to Hong Kong. Now, this is indeed a good policy. This can help attract high-end business travelers from Central Asia to Hong Kong. And this would definitely help us enhance our ties with Central Asia. Now, can we do more? Are there measures to promote group tours, for example? The Security Bureau earlier joined hands with the sector in promoting our tourism to Vietnam. The government also introduced a facilitation measure on visa arrangements. So I hope a further facilitation can be put in place for Central Asia. I thank the government for heeding our views. Other FCAs such as Maipo and Shuttlecock will be further opened up, and that the closed area permits are processed expeditiously. My question is about Lim Ma Hang. We have tourist attractions, relics near Lim Ma Hang, as well as Robin's Nest Country Park. Now this place is accessed via minibuses. Will you consider further facilitation so that coaches will be allowed to go there and group tours can be organized? I thank Mr. Yu for his comments in the past few years to help us gauge the public demand, and that is why we've opened up the frontier closed area. About the 4 countries in Central Asia, earlier the eligibility criteria was 3 visits to Hong Kong in the past 12 months. the eligibility criteria has now been relaxed to 2 or more trouble-free trips in the past 36 months, not limited to Hong Kong, but to 2 or more countries, regions. And we'll also conduct risk assessment. For example, we will make reference to the arrangements for ASEAN travelers. For visa validity period, we may extend the period up to 3 years. And for group tours, we will consider further amending the law if necessary. For Lin Man Hang Road, this is the section subject to patrol in the frontier closed area. At the moment, this section is served by green minibuses so as to save the time for walking on foot by members of the public visiting the Robin's Nest Country Park. As for further opening up the road for tourist coaches, we will consider the situation. If there is a genuine demand and if we have capacity to accommodate tourist coaches, we'll discuss with the sector and then decide whether to put in place a booking system. Mr. Johnny Ng. Thank you, Chair. I thank the Security Bureau for their efforts in safeguarding national security and combating crime. It has done a lot in contributing to laying a good foundation for enhancing public security and advancing economic development in Hong Kong. Now, I have some questions. The first question is about cybercrime. I support the government in setting up the working group on virtual assets intelligence to combat crimes. Through sharing of intelligence, the concerted efforts can be made to combat crimes relating to virtual assets. My question is whether the working group will step up its efforts in going after the fraudsters who have absconded overseas, and whether there will be further collaboration with international organizations or our counterparts in other jurisdictions. The next point is about JPEGs. It's about 2 years. I'd like to have an update from the Secretary. The next point is about digital policing. I understand an AI police post will be set up at Central Station in the first phase. May I know more about the functions of this AI police post and how will members of the public benefit from it? May I also know the coverage of this scheme in the future and how this will help the police process complaints? And 2 questions about the working group on virtual assets intelligence to combat crimes. We understand the prevalence of VA-related crimes, and we work with the financial sector. In fact, we have a special intelligence unit comprising representatives from 10 banks. So this is a joint intelligence center for us to share information. But we have yet to set up a proper platform. Due to the potential impact of virtual assets, we'd like to do more, and that is why, together with regulators such as the SFC and the Hong Kong MA, we've set up this working group on virtual assets intelligence. Service providers would also join the working group. The focus is on sharing of information, and so as to help us identify the modus operandi and identify areas of abuse and how proceeds from crimes are received. More importantly, this working group can introduce a stop payment arrangement after informing the service providers if money laundering is involved. We also work with other law enforcement agencies. In fact, we have this stop payment platform set up with our mainland and overseas counterparts. If criminal proceeds are involved, we can stop the payment immediately. Now, for JPEGs, at the moment, we've frozen the proceeds to a tune of $280 million. We've also arrested 80 persons. Now, this is a rather complex case. As you see, we have arrested 80 persons with over $200 million involved. So it takes time to collect evidence and track down criminals. The third question is about the AI digital police post. The AI police post, it will be set up in the central MTR station. Now, imagine a chatbot. In fact, we have this electronic system to allow to receive case reportings, such as loss of property and other crimes that are non-urgent. Now, what is different is that for this AI police post, voice interactions will be allowed so that you don't need to key in anything. You just tell the chatbot and that the matter will be recorded. We are considering setting up the police post at busier stations, West Rail stations, or even police stations, so that we can spare manpower for other more urgent tasks. So the plan is to set up the first AI police post at Central MTR Station in the second quarter of 2026, right? Yes, Mr. Manson, look. Thank you, Chair. The Security Bureau covers a very wide portfolio. It has achieved exemplary results in maintaining law and order, safeguarding national security, facilitating economic development, etc. On leveraging technology, I understand that the Smart View program has been put in place and CCTVs will be installed in public places. In fact, so far, close to 4,000 CCTV cameras have been installed. Some 5,000 CCTV cameras of other government departments have also been installed, and so far you've detected 433 cases and arrested 700 plus persons. You plan to install 60,000 more cameras to cover the entire city by 2028. Now, you did not mention the technology used, whether it's facial recognition. The accuracy rate could reach 99%. The police in the past also mentioned a study to be conducted in phases in the facial recognition technology and the compliance. So may I know whether the same technology will be included in the 60,000 additional cameras? And for drone policing, I think that the members of the public are familiar with the new scheme because I see posters and banners at busy streets and cross junctions in Tsim Sha Tsui to warn the public about the scheme. So can you tell us the case figures relating to, say, jaywalking and other violations? The next point is about yacht tourism or marine tourism. To support Tourism is Everywhere initiative, the Security Bureau will work with the Transport and Logistics Bureau. A one-stop service will be provided to visiting vessels for the submission of information for vetting. So I'd like to know more about that, Secretary. About Smart View, in fact, we're going to install altogether 60,000 cameras. We're also going to make use of technology such as AI at places for the diversion of crowds or crowd management, such as Kai Tak Sports Park. The second point is about identifying license plates of vehicles And through smart view system, we'll be able to track down the vehicles in question. And we'll also need to track down criminals in the future, of course, adopting the same technology. We are considering the resources available and the technologies to be applied, as well as work priorities. Everything is within our plan, and once we have more details, we will report our progress to members. The next point is about drone policing. This is deployed for patrol at the boundary checkpoints as well as Kowloon West. For border district, we adopt this mode of auto patrol. That means we check the boundary points. In the past, patrols were conducted with cars, and now with vertical control, we can make use of thermal imaging as well, so that we can detect suspicious figures even at night. For Kowloon West District, the drones are deployed to detect possible burglaries. Bird eye view videos are used to capture cases, including pickpocketing and drug offenses. It's very effective. We plan to extend the coverage to Cheung Division as well as Central Police District. Cheung is a big island, so drones will be effective. In Central, we have hilly terrain, so adopting the same technology, we can detect burglaries as well. Now, we also deploy drones to collect evidence in relation to traffic violations on highways, for example. So there are multiple users. We can also apply AI in drone policing. The third question is about marine tourism. This may not be familiar to the general public, but in fact our immigration clearance procedures are really simple. You don't need to go to any checkpoint. Now the agent, that means the master or the agent, can present the ID documents to our office within 24 hours upon arrival for immigration clearance. So it's not a really cumbersome procedure.
Secretary, I think Ms. Lo's question is about whether the facial recognition function will be added later, or does it come when the cameras are installed. Facial recognition is more about analyzing the data gathered by the lens. The system is not installed yet. As I said, there are resources and they are concerned about resources, and we are making preparation for it. Mr. Ma Fong-kwok. Thank you, Chair. In terms of safeguarding our country and home, the Secretary said that the National Security Animation Series, that is Andy and National Security Bear, it will be adapted into a play within this year, and it will be performed in no fewer than 20 schools. I like this idea because I have been giving national security seminars in schools. If we can promote the message through an interesting play, that would be very, very effective. But I think 20 is too little. Can we do that in more schools? Now, in the preparation for this play, how can we make sure that this play is interesting enough while accurately disseminating the message of national security? I hope it will not be just a piece of propaganda. So would you consider collaborating with the performance industry in Hong Kong to make sure that the play is entertaining and eye-catching? And critically, if you can involve practitioners in the art and performance industry, it would help deepen the understanding of these practitioners in national security as well. Now, from my personal experience, some of the practitioners in the industries have misunderstanding in the concepts of national security. So maybe this is a good opportunity to involve them. And also, can you extend this idea to other areas involving security like anti-scam and so on? Secretary. Thank you. I fully agree with Mr. Ma Fong Kwok. We came up with this idea of anti and security pair play because we have created plays in terms of rehabilitation and anti-drug messages. So we thought we could duplicate it to national security education. So 20 schools will be involved in the first phase. The number is not significant, so we will do more after that. So of course we want the play to be shown to as many students as possible. So in terms of the contents, the script will be vetted by the Security Bureau and also the DOJ to make sure that the message is accurate. And also we have engaged practitioners in the industry to ensure that the show is entertaining. And we have trial run the show a few times. I personally have watched the show twice. I think the story is really interesting. And spectators would be asked questions to ensure that they get the message. We have shown the play to parents as well as professionals in the industry. So before the play is made official, we will show it to as many people as possible to ensure that the play is gripping. So I hope Mr. Ma Fong Kwok will also go to see the show. Mr. Kissenyang, thank you. In terms of using technology, the government has been doing very well. State-of-the-art technologies are being used to enhance the convenience of customs clearance, for example, contactless customs clearance. But as a representative of my constituents, I am concerned about the Internet of Things fire detection pilot schemes. That's the pilot scheme on Internet of Things fire detection system. Now, for putting out fires in old buildings, the fire service department is using water supply from the streets rather than water tanks. So for owners of flats in old buildings under 6 stories, they're very concerned about cost. Now, water tanks for fire safety is very costly. Now, with this new Internet of Things fire detection scheme, the cost is lower. So we have consulted owners corporations of old buildings on whether they would join the scheme, but they are very concerned about the price. So as far as I understand, you are collaborating with contractors, and the first 2 years are free of charge. Is that true? So I hope the Secretary can make use of this opportunity to explain the scheme clearly so that more building owners would like to join the scheme. So far, there are only 10 buildings which have joined. And also there is a drone for emergency service scheme. Now, robot dogs would be deployed to rescue missions on mountains. But what about using drones to put out fire? Now, fire safety is a concern in East Kowloon. For example, the East Kowloon Highway. The residents in buildings nearby have always wanted to put on sound barrier next to the building. However, because of fire requirements, they cannot install noise barriers. So with drones in the picture, can we overcome the hurdles? Secretary, thank you. First, on the pilot scheme on IoT fire detection system. So in the past, for buildings with less than 6 stories, a water tank has to be installed. Now we can solve this with routers and Internet of Things technologies. Now in terms of cost, every year it costs about $600,000 and also $20,000 to $30,000 in terms of maintenance for water tanks. In the future, when Internet of Things technology is used, we think that the cost will be lower to $300,000, including the maintenance fee for 5 years maintenance. So what about after 5 years? Will we still expect the maintenance fees to be much lower than the existing $20,000 to $30,000? Now, when the scheme is launched, there will be more competition and there is room for lowering the cost. So the upfront cost is halved, and also for the first 5 years, you don't need to pay maintenance fees. Now, in terms of robot rescue or drone rescue, now the loading capacity for drone is 30 kilograms. Now, at the present, firefighters need to carry the equipment and go to the rescue location. Now with drone, they can reach the location in 30 minutes. Now in the mainland, there are even fire drones carrying fire hose. But in the context of Hong Kong, we need to see which technologies are applicable because we have a lot of high-rise buildings. Now for individual locations where facilities cannot be erected because of fire requirements, that is true, but technology can change the picture. For example, in the past, we need to install fire hose reels in buildings lower than 6 stories, but now technologies have helped. Mr. Rincon. Thank you, Chair. My question is about amendments to sexual offences legislation. Now, I'm pleased to see that the government will be very proactive in introducing the amendments in the next year. Now, in paragraph 10, it says outright that to better protect children and persons with mental impairments, the government is actively examining the implementation of the recommendation under the reports. Now, according to the 2 reports compiled by the LRC, it's not just for protecting children and persons with mental impairments. A lot of the recommendations are general in nature. So can the Secretary confirm this? And also, while amending sexual offences, I would like to convey the views of women groups. Now, according to many women groups, they have concerns about the definition for consent. And they would like the government to define the definition of consent clearly in the law. Sometimes people think that no resistance means that consent is given. Now, in common law jurisdictions, for a very long time, the definition of consent has evolved, and the term is now clearly defined in the laws. So the government consider tackling this issue in this round of legislative amendment exercise. And just very briefly about the AI policing post, I'm very pleased to see that we are taking one more step in adopting AI. So what kind of offenses does the Secretary think that we can report to the AI police post, and how can we protect privacy of the complainants? Thank you.
請局長。
Secretary. About amending the laws on sexual offenses, the member made a very good point. Of course, we're not seeking to better protect children and persons with mental impairment, but they are a very important group. Let me explain that there are a number of major amendments to be proposed in principle. For example, for the offense of rape, at the moment, only a man can commit this crime. Upon amendment, we'll make sure that the offense is gender neutral. And about the definition of terms such as consent, we want to make sure clarity is provided. So the amendment will involve providing clarity in the definition. It will also respect sexual autonomy, and also it will enhance self-protection. The fourth point is that it will be gender neutral for some offenses, and will avoid distinguishing between people with different sexual orientations. So there are three areas. The first one is rape and other non-consensual acts. The second part is crimes involving children and persons with mental impairment. The third area is about miscellaneous sexual offenses, such as exposing in a public place, incest. Clear definitions will be provided. And please wait for the consultation document, which will provide the specific proposals. We will, of course, listen to your views later. Now, about the AI police post at Central MTR station, we at the moment have a report center. So about this police post, it will be placed in a room, and it will remain highly private. You can just talk to this this robot. Next, Mr. Denslow. Thank you, Chair. I have three questions. The first question is about illegal employment. Other members already asked similar questions. Now, very often, the illegal workers may be arrested, but what is important is to go after the employers. Now that the penalty levels have been raised, will the government further discuss with the law courts to further increase the penalties targeting employers? Now, the next point is about the pre-stroke hospital diversion scheme, pre-hospital stroke diversion scheme. Now, the Fire Services Department started to adopt a new method in January 2025 called FAST-ED, Field Assessment Stroke Triage for Emergency Destination, and that it saved up to 80 minutes with and further enhancement of efficiency by 60%. Now, there are two types of stroke, one involving arteries in the brain and also other major arteries. And I understand this will be introduced in anti-east and anti-west clusters by the end of 2025. So, will you consider introducing the same in the community for care homes, for example, to enhance the analysis and avoid people from dying from stroke? The second point is about telling good stories of Hong Kong. By 2028, altogether 60,000 cameras will be installed to cover the entire city. You also deploy advanced technology such as thermal imaging so as to detect crime at night. Will you consider further deploy technology to enhance your capability in tracking down criminals? 3 questions, Secretary. Yes, I do agree that on combating illegal employment, we need to go after employers as well, because once the employers are caught, no illegal workers will be employed. On sentencing, we recorded a case with the highest penalty of 19 months of imprisonment. And if we find the penalty to be too lax, we would appeal against sentence so as to make sure that convicted employees will be sent to jail. Now, we are closely monitoring the situation to see if there is a need to further review the law, but so far we believe that the legislation is effective. The second point is about a stroke. We have a pre-hospital stroke assessment mechanism, and those who are found to be having stroke symptoms will be sent to the hospital first. That's the present situation. But not all hospitals are equipped with the manpower and equipment for treating stroke. And this patient may be transferred to another hospital, which would take a lot of time, and that is why we've adopted a scientific and internationally recognized method. By introducing this fast ED, stroke patients will be sent directly to a stroke hospital upon assessment. That can help us save time by up to 80 minutes. We will launch this pilot in the anti-east and anti-west clusters first, and then we will consider the hospital's operations and further extend to other clusters as well. The third point is about CCTV cameras. All I can say is that it's equipped with certain functions, but it's not for me to disclose the functions here. Ms. Chen Yuming. 2 questions. Now, according to the policy address, within this year, the Sandy Ridge Data Center site will be open for tender. Longwu Station is the closest station to Sandy Ridge Data Center site. So my question is whether the government will allow Longwu Station to be used in an orderly manner. Will there be collaboration with the MTRCL? So in terms of ID verification and the issuance of or exemption of closed area permit and the waiver of the charges. The next point is about virtual assets. The government has in Hong Kong we've passed the stablecoin ordinance. And starting from the 1st of August, some tertiary institutions have begun to accept the payment of bitcoins for the tuition fees. Now, I am concerned about students being victims of frauds. In fact, according to a survey, mainland students accounted for 55% of all victims of fraud in the first half of this year, with an average amount of loss of 830,000. So this is a specific category of victims. I want to know whether there is a specific plan. Will there be a will there be collaboration with the VA service providers so that training will be provided, and that users of these platforms must pass a system check, and that whenever large amount transfers take place, warnings will appear. Now you talk about Sandy Ridge. It's at the planning stage, and you also mentioned LEUNG. So I need to get a better understanding of the situation when it comes to people coming over to work. There seems to be no difference than other people traveling across the boundary. However, a special zone will be set up at the loop, and a whitelist approach will be adopted, along with the facial recognition technology to help facilitate immigration clearance. And this is so far the plan at the loop. I need to check with other policy bureaus when it comes to Sandy Ridge. About stable coins and anti-fraud measures, technology evolves rapidly. In the past, we came across cases of frauds involving virtual assets and stable coins. These virtual assets may be convenient to some, but it's also a tool for fraudsters. We have a platform, and we also have an intelligence unit. And through this intelligence unit, we identified risks, and we also identified target groups. This will help us mount targeted publicity. You mentioned mainland students and tertiary students. In fact, courses are available. Many tertiary institutions require mainland students to complete the training course before they are allowed to use certain campus facilities such as school libraries. And according to information, those who have undergone training, as I mentioned, have a far lower rate of being victims of fraud comparing to those who have not attended the training courses. We also have targeted publicity for mainland students. We pass on anti-fraud information to them, and this can help us identify the victims as early as possible. Mr. Ambrose Lam. For smart lampposts and other CCTV cameras, as I understand, these devices help take pictures of illegally parked vehicles and other traffic violations for the purpose of issuing tickets. I want to know whether the smart view CCTV cameras will carry the same function. Now, the second point is that even the government agrees that there is a serious shortage of parking spaces. Commercial vehicles are forced to stop at non-parking zones just to take a toilet break or to submit documents. Now, we have double yellow lines, single yellow lines, and other road markings in the road. Now, if there is road marking, that means you can only drop off or pick up passengers. You can't stop here. But what about those sections without any marking at all? For professional drivers, they are really in a plight. Will the law enforcement officers be able to give discretion, say, if you just stop for a few minutes And for smart lampposts and smart view CCTV cameras, will there be discretion? For example, after stopping there for 10 minutes, you'll be booked. But otherwise, for professional drivers, some discretion should be allowed because it's now really efficient to book drivers.
Now, in terms of drawing a line, I need to draw a line after the Secretary has answered this question. Secretary, thank you. Now, in terms of smart lampposts, there are some lampposts with cameras for traffic enforcement. Now, for smart lampposts, they already come with a recording function. So they will be made part of the Smart View program. Now, for ordinary traffic cameras, the resolution and the parameters are different. So those traffic cameras may not be suitable for the purpose of Smart View. Now, about road markings, we draw different road markings based on the actual needs. For example, if there is a double yellow line, if there are double yellow lines, then it means that we do not allow parking there because of the, say, narrow road or because of the existence of nearby schools or exit. Now, when there are no road markings, in theory, passengers can board or exit the vehicles. So normally speaking, we do not allow parking next to double yellow lines, but we do understand the needs of commercial drivers. They may need to use the bathroom. So we do exercise discretion. If we see that the drivers are nearby, we would just give a verbal warning. Now, for some locations, even when there are no road markings, if the parked vehicle there would obstruct the traffic, then we would enforce the law. Next, Mr. Project. So I think there are some very interesting highlights. I also applaud the Security Bureau for including all the KPIs in the 2 annexes. That's very easy to read. Now, many members have mentioned the niche points. I would like to follow up on several areas. First, AI police post. Now, so far, I think for cases which need record taking, like pickpocketing and theft, you still need to go to a physical police station. Now, can we allow AI complaints on phones? Can we use phone services assisted by AI to receive reports? Now, drones. Now, drones are being used for evidence collection in some cases. So besides investigation and crime detection, what about evidence? Is the evidence gathered by drones admissible in court? Now, with images, there is a high likelihood to achieve justice in court. So will images captured by drones be admissible? Now, about the triage system of stroke, now if we can reduce the need of duplicated diagnosis or hospital change, we should extend the scheme to other areas as soon as possible, other than New Territories West and East. Now, I like the pilot scheme on IoT fire detection system as well. It will help a lot of residents in old buildings. So for old buildings, which the government has already required them to install fire hose reels, will they be given a grace period because of this new scheme? Because it will save a lot of trouble for the flag owners. And also, will the offense and punishments be adjusted according to the new system? And also about yachts. Now, customs clearance is very convenient for yachts, but will that add to the risk of smuggling? Now, the chief executive is trying to promote yacht tourism, so how can we prevent smugglers using yachts as a tool for the crime? Secretary, we have reservation of reporting crime through phones because we need to confirm the identity of the persons. Just like I'm Smart, you need to authenticate your identity at a physical machine. So for general complaints, like complaints made through 1823, those will be fine. But for reporting crime, we have reservation at the moment. Now for drones, they don't usually come with a recording function. Now drones would assist our colleagues on the ground to intercept suspects for arrest. Now for high altitude patrol, we would use drone to capture image for catching offending vehicles. So even for drones with recording functions, we have a very stringent requirements. The images or recordings will not be kept for more than a month. And also, we will only retrieve the video recordings for use when there are genuine needs. Now, in terms of stroke triage, we want to extend the program to other districts as well. About Internet of Things fire detection system. Now, of course, for those buildings where the fire services works have not started yet, they will be given this option to use the new scheme. Now, about rehabilitation. Now, sometimes there will be multiple professionals involved. Now, maybe we can provide a one-stop rehabilitation service right from the start when the person is in custody, is incarcerated. So this is a new measure. Now, about measures in relation to national security. We have a similar program to offer rehabilitation service to offenders of national security offenses. Now it has been extended to other released prisoners as well. Now for smuggling, that's another matter. Now we conduct a risk-based enforcement approach. Ms. Lai Tong-Kwok. Thank you, Chair. I have two questions. First, on scams. Now, I know the police is under a lot of pressure. There are a lot of people who lend their accounts to criminals for a small profit. And then the accounts will be used for scamming. Now, the police will usually use the anti-money laundering ordinance to prosecute the criminals. The evidence threshold is very high, and these are all district court level cases. So the manpower, resources, and time spent on prosecuting these cases is huge, and also the waiting time for a court appearance is very long. So will the government consider legislating for an offense targeting these crimes so that in terms of prosecution and court procedures, we can handle these cases more effectively and create a stronger deterrence? On the other hand, victims of scam cases find it very difficult to get back their money. Even they know to which account the money is transferred to, the banks are not allowed to disclose this information because of personal privacy. So the victims will have to find a lawyer to apply to the court for the banks to disclose the information of the account holder. The process is very lengthy and costly in terms of money and time. So even though the police has frozen the amount of money scammed, the victims have no means to claim the money back efficiently. So can we legislate to help the victims claim back the money more easily? Secretary. Thank you. This is a suggestion while studying. There are similar new offenses in Singapore. Now, in terms of recovering the money, now the prosecution of the criminal is a criminal proceeding. On the other hand, recovering the money lost is a civil matter. Now, of course, it would be great if the court can direct the banks to disclose information. However, for civil cases, it is not suitable for the police to intervene, but we will study your suggestion. Mr. Lai, I thank the Secretary for his positive response. I agree that the police is responsible for law enforcement and they should not interfere in civil matters. But from a legislative point of view, the law allows banks to disclose information of account holder under certain circumstances. Or under circumstances, the police is allowed to disclose the information to the victims. That would save a lot of time for the victims. So we need to find a way to make this happen. Of course, the police duty is to enforce the law, but we need to consider this direction to create a stronger deterrence on scam and help the victims. Secretary, the Banking Industry Amendment Bill 2025 will come into effect soon. Now that allows banks to share information on account holders internally on the premise of protecting personal privacy. I think that will also help the scam victims to recover their money without applying for a warrant from court. So let's see how the amendment ordinance will help victims. So I thank the Secretary for keeping an open mind on this suggestion. If there is a new offense for trading of accounts or buying or selling accounts, that would help a lot. Like Mr. Lai Tong-kwok said, there are people who sell their accounts to criminals for a small amount of money. Mr. Gary Chen. Thank you, Chair. I support the initiative of AI policing. Now, in the past, we have CCTV schemes and also drone patrols in boundary areas. They are proven to be effective. So I thank the government for accepting our suggestion to increase the number of cameras or smart lampposts under the Smart View program to 60,000 in 2 years' time. Now we should allow interconnection of surveillance cameras between the private sector and the Smart View. This will save a lot of money for everyone. Now, in case of crime, despite the availability of CCTV footages from these cameras, are we still using manual labor to identify the criminals from the footages behind the scene? I think we should use the technology of facial recognition to analyze the footages. Otherwise, it will still cost us a lot of time and manpower. Maybe we should apply more AI in desk job as well. Now, I support extending the scheme of drone patrol to the rural areas in new territories. That would save manpower and also create deterrence. Third, yesterday the Secretary chaired the meeting of the Interdepartmental Work Group of Illegal Employment. Now, in 2 weeks' time after the hotline has been set up, 100 cases have been reported. But there are still illegal workers in Hong Kong engaging in ride-hailing industry and renovation works. So I think we need the participation of the general public and also property management companies. Now, I saw some online media reports claiming that they have illegal workers working in private housing estates. Now, we should collaborate with property management companies. Illegal workers wearing these working outfits need to register their names before working in the relevant flags. So if property management sector is involved, the enforcement efficiency would be much greater. So can we conduct more cyber patrol and invite property management companies to help?
Secretary. Thank you, Chair. We do use technology in the Smart View program. For example, we have crowd size estimation at Kai-Tak Sports Park. We also identify car plates with AI. Now, you mentioned facial recognition. This is something that we will use to track down criminals so that we don't need to go through each and every frame of the video clips. For drones, apart from the 4 locations mentioned, we also use drones in other areas, such as anti-burglary operations in the new territories. If need be, we also deploy drones. So it's not confined to the 4 police precincts, as mentioned. As for combating illegal employment, we provide training to frontline officers to help identify the illegal workers. Some may pretend to be residents instead of illegal workers, but if you really live there, you shouldn't be carrying the tools around. So we provide training to property management staff as well. Cyber patrol is a major tool for us. In fact, through cyber patrols, we detected crimes involving mainlanders coming to Hong Kong to provide makeup service. That we also make arrests. We work with the mainland authorities to take these advertisements off the web, and we also mount publicity and investigation in the mainland. Now, Mr. Tang, I already drew a line, so let me ask my questions first, and then I'll give you 2 minutes. Now, Secretary, members have put various questions to you, and I'd like to follow up on the 2 questions. In May 2025, according to the paper, 2 subsidiary legislation were published in the Gazette under the SNSO. Secretary, you also recently issued the working guidelines for government officers on safeguarding national security. Now, I believe these are highlights of the government's success in safeguarding national security. Can you tell us more about the working guidelines? And can you explain whether you will make the working guidelines public, and if not, the reasons why? And about the critical infrastructure computer systems ordinance, it will come into effect on the 1st of January 2026. I'd like you to give me an update whether you consulted the sector on matters such as the code of practice. On the 9th of September, we issued the working guidelines for government officers on safeguarding national security. The set of guidelines refers to workflows and other specific issues, so the guidelines are confidential. It's not released in public domain. But I want to emphasize that when it comes to the Hong Kong National Security Law or Safeguarding National Security Ordinance, we're not adding extra to the existing legal framework. The working guidelines serve to inform supervisors, frontline personnel, what they should or should not do through illustrative examples. These examples are included in the working guidelines. They serve as a reminder for civil servants. The next point is about critical infrastructure computer systems ordinance. Preparation is underway. We've set up the preparatory office comprising over 30 staff members, half of which have reported duty. We are also in the process of recruiting other professionals such as lawyers. I'd say that overall the progress has been smooth. Coming to the code of practice, again, I'd say that we're in the final stage. We also consulted different sectors and we held a number of briefing sessions. So we've paved the way, and after the Commissioner reports duty on the 1st of January, we will be able to promulgate the codes of practice. Mr. Bill Tang. Chair, I'm concerned about illegal employment, especially mainland workers. In fact, earlier I asked an oral question. The Secretary mentioned that mainland workers only accounted for half of those arrested. The other half were actually non-fulfillment claimants. We need to make a sustained effort to resolve the issue, because these bogus refugees may get a reconnaissance paper and then they would take up illegal jobs in Hong Kong, and money would be sent back to their places of origin. Now we are particularly concerned about food delivery service. Now if you see a bogus refugee delivering food to you, then there may be a security risk. So food delivery workers is something really crucial. The illegal workers may hamper the legitimate rights of other workers. There may also be potential risks. Can we introduce harsher measures? For example, if a bogus refugee is caught delivering food illegally, he should be repatriated immediately. I know you're going to cite the CFA case authority, but in Europe, they have a similar procedures to expedite the matter. Upon release from prison, they should be sent back to their place of origin. Now, Secretary, only 1 minute. That's true. For illegal employment, mainlanders account for half of these cases, but there are also other illegal workers coming from, say, Indonesia, the Philippines, who are foreign domestic helpers in Hong Kong, as well as bogus refugees. Now, for food delivery services, we understand that some illegal workers are ethnic minorities. We're not targeting the EM groups. We are a pluralistic society. I don't think we should stop EM groups from taking up jobs. What we go after is illegal employment. For non-refoulement claimants, if they've breached the law, they will be kept in custody until repatriation. Now, Mr. Bill Tang mentioned the CFA's case authority. In fact, we've changed the approach at the Court of Appeal level. If the case is lost, we will start the repatriation process right away. Thank you. This is the last meeting of the panel of this term. And once again, I thank the Secretary for Security for leading the various discipline services to provide support to the work of this panel. It was unfortunate that because of typhoon, we were not able to go on a visit to the police tactical operational base on the 23rd of September, despite the preparations. I hope similar arrangements can be put in place in the future. Once again, I thank the Secretary. So much for this item. Next item is PA briefing by the ICAC Commissioner. So let's invite the representatives to come in.
咁我歡迎呢就係廉政專員胡英明。
Let me welcome from the ICAC, Mr. Danny Wu, Commissioner of ICAC, Mr. Ricky Yao, Head of Operations, Mr. Deman Mack, Director of Community Relations, and Ms. Kate Chuck, Director of Corruption Prevention of ICAC. Now let's see if the Commissioner is ready. Again, I've invited all LegCo members to join the panel in the discussion of this item. Members, please refer to LC paper number CB-21792/2025-02. Members, if you want to speak, please press the button when you're ready. Commissioner. Good morning, Chair, members. The paper sets out details of the ICAC's work. Now, I just give the salient points. In the first 8 months, corruption complaints decreased by 17%. For government bureaus and departments, we registered a year-on-year decrease of 12%, and for private sector, 18%. We work on 4 fronts. The first one is to enforce the law and maintain a clean society. And will continue to mount effective publicity and public education. On building maintenance and management, we held the first summit in Hong Kong in September. For this territory-wide building management summit, we worked with district bodies, professional bodies to help tackle the problem together. On finance and insurance industries, in the beginning of this year, we detected a case involving a bank staff member receiving bribes from intermediaries to defraud banks, and we issued an alert to all banks in July, and we also held online seminars to raise awareness. Now, on the construction industry, we develop the integrity management framework for infrastructure projects, and we also help enhance the project transparency and efficiency of project management. We also put forward specific recommendations to enhance the supervision of workflow and the use of technology. For listed companies, we are preparing a practical guide on the integrity and compliance management system. This has been incorporated in the corporate governance guide for boards and directors. For the sports sector, we joined hands with the Hong Kong Jockey Club, the SF&OC, and the Hong Kong Chartered Governance Institute to form the Sports Governance and Integrity Alliance so as to introduce professional corporate governance model. Now, for tertiary education institutions, in the beginning of this year, we held an anti-corruption seminar. And in June, we also promulgated a corruption prevention guide on admission of students for tertiary education institutions. We also conducted a professional anti-corruption training for management staff of TEIs so as to enhance the awareness and capabilities of TEIs in line with Hong Kong's policy of developing Hong Kong into an international education hub. On the front of international collaboration, we continue to work with the IAACA. So in the first 8 months, the ICAC already held 15 international anti-corruption training programs, attracting approximately 1,700 participants from about 70 countries and territories. We shared with them our anti-corruption work. As chair of the IACA, I'm going to lead a delegation to participate in a G20 anti-corruption working group meeting in South Africa as chair of IACA. In December, we'll hold the general meeting and annual conference during the 11th session of the Conference of the State Parties to UNCAC. It will be held in Doha, Qatar. This is the first meeting to be held overseas since I took up the chairmanship. All these demonstrate the recognition ICAC enjoys in the global community. We also continue to enhance collaboration with the UNODC. In May, we organized a tailor-made capacity building program for the Office of Public Sector Anti-Corruption Commission of Thailand. Through collaboration across government departments, we make Hong Kong a clean city. In this month, October, together with the Customs and Excise Department, we will hold a workshop in Kyrgyzstan, and if need be, we will join hands with other government departments to publicize the clean culture of Hong Kong.
Also, last month, we have held the Coding for Integrity Asian Youth Anti-Corruption Hackathon together with the UNODC and IAACA to encourage young people to use technology to prevent bribery. The hackathon involved candidates from 11 Belt and Road regions, and the award-winning pieces will be introduced in the next summit. Now also, we have been working with UNODC to develop the Corruption Risk Management Guide for Prison Systems, which involved experts from 15 jurisdictions. They will gather in Hong Kong in November to devise the contents of the guide, during which there will be a prison visit. The ICAC will make use of this opportunity to let overseas experts understand the ICAC's anti-corruption work in prison. Now we will introduce this management guide in the next UNODC meeting. And we will continue to deepen international cooperation. This year, I have led a delegation to visit many Middle East countries and ASEAN member states, and also we have received high-level delegations from various anti-corruption agencies of various countries. In the future, we will continue to collaborate with other ACAs to organize trainings. Now, with the support of various national authorities, the anti-corruption agencies of Hong Kong, Macau, and Guangdong have compiled an anti-corruption guide of doing business in GBA. Now, thirdly, we will continue to make use of innovative means like social media platforms to spread the message. Now, we have created a new promotional video which has won several awards. Now, we have opened the Cafe 1974, which has attracted more than 140,000 visitors. Now, we have established an ICAC exhibition hall with immersive anti-corruption experience to tie in with the government's policy of tourism is everywhere. Now, finally, in terms of safeguarding clean elections, Now, concerning the Legislative Council general election to be held on the 7th of December, we have established an interdepartmental workforce to crack down on election crimes. We have also adopted multi-front promotional technology to help candidates and voters to comply with the relevant law. On the polling day, we will deploy colleagues to be stationed at polling stations and other local offices to handle inquiries and complaints. Members, in the past year, the ICAC has achieved significant results, and we will continue to contribute to the development of the country and Hong Kong. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner, for your introduction concerning the 5 directions of the ICAC. Now, I will first extend the meeting by 15 minutes. The next meeting will be held at 10:45 a.m. in the same room. Now, 5 members have pressed the button. I will give each member 3 minutes, questions and answers included. Mr. Dennis Leung, Mr. Doreen Kong, Mr. Perry Yu, Mr. Bill Tang, and myself. Over to you, Mr. Dennis Leung. Thank you, Chair. Now, the ICAC has done a very good job in the past, especially the Commissioner is the President of the IAACA. So there are lots of international cooperation. So besides the international front, we also need to focus on the local situation. There has been a lot of integrity issues in Hong Kong across various sectors, even governmental departments. Now, I know the corruption complaints received in Hong Kong has been decreasing. However, I think in many places, if you enter a government office, all you can see is anti-corruption messages plastered on the wall. So how can Hong Kong step up on our efforts on anti-corruption? There has been media reports on schools involving in corruption. So in the future, how can we enhance the quality of our promotional work to disseminate the integrity message in Hong Kong? The questions are mainly on promotion, Commissioner. Now, the focus of our work has always been Hong Kong. We will not set aside the most important work and just focus on the international front. We pursue developments in both areas, but we do focus on Hong Kong. Yes, the number of complaints received has dropped, but it doesn't mean that corruption does not exist. Sometimes you will see corruption in individual sectors, but these are not corruption crimes committed by syndicates or as a group. Those are situations that we worry about most, but so far we don't see syndicate crime in corruption. Now, after identifying a case, the ICAC and the IAAC would step in. Now, the International Academy Against Corruption provides training courses for practitioners in various sectors. For example, the banking industry. When corruption is identified, we would immediately roll out programs to enhance the anti-corruption awareness in the industry and also to plug loopholes. Now, over the past few years, we have done a lot more promotional work. Through social media platforms, we have been disseminating information very efficiently. The results have been apparent. Now, we will keep educating the public. Anti-corruption work can never stop. We need to continue our work on a daily basis. In terms of other governmental departments, can we give them more promotional materials like posters or pamphlets? We will definitely consider that. Next, Mr. Yin Kong. Thank you, Chair. I'm a member of the Anti-Corruption Committee under the ICAC. I've witnessed the work of the ICAC. They have not turned away from difficulties or challenges. Now, earlier this year, the ICAC has held the first Building Management Summit. I think that is a good start. My question is, will this Building Management Summit be made a regular event in Hong Kong? Now, also, we face the geo-aging problems in Hong Kong, that is aging buildings and aging population. So considering this issue, can the ICAC design and tailored promotional work? Commissioner, thank you. Building management is a very complicated issue involving a number of departments. Any problem would spill over to other areas. So because of that, we took the lead in hosting this Building Management Summit. There are many issues that some departments would like to address, but don't know where to start. So through this summit, we have established a consensus that these problems should be dealt with together. So when the summit was held, all the stakeholders were glad because finally there was a platform to work together. So I surely hope that this summit will become a recurrent event. We also want more members of the public to participate. For example, we can organize activities to attract more attendance to the summit. Building management is a complex issue requiring the participation of all members of society. Concerning the problem of aged buildings, over the past few years, a lot of resources have been deployed internally to deal with this issue in terms of education and prevention. But this is really a long-standing issue. We cannot expect the ICAC to tackle this alone. What the ICAC will do is establish a common platform for all parties to chip in. Now, in the previous summit, the district offices, building departments, the architectural services departments, and even the various professional institutes have participated. So we hope that we can grow this platform. Members of the public affected by the issue should join this summit. We have been offering training programs to professional bodies and building management companies, but we will consider opening up the courses for ordinary members of the public as well. Mr. Perry Yu. Thank you, Chair. I recognize the work of the ICAC on prevention and law enforcement on corruption. So I hope there will be more collaboration with the tourism sector in terms of telling the good stories of Hong Kong, in terms of integrity. For example, the cafe 1974 and also the immersive experience in the exhibition hall. I think this is a very good attraction. Now, since the opening of the cafe 1974, 140,000 visitors have visited the cafe. On average, 600 people patronize the cafe every day. So So this may add to the workload of the ICAC, but I think you should keep this up because this is a very good promotional strategy. I've also visited the Cafe 1974 together with my constituents. I thank the ICAC for arranging the visits and also listening to our views. Tour groups have been visiting the 1974 cafe, so thank you. So in terms of the immersive anti-corruption experience, now the space is not large. It is good to use technology to create an immersive experience for the visitors so they can put themselves in famous cases in the past. So I think this is an area worth investing in. So among the 600 local and overseas guests, where are they from? I know that mainland visitors are attracted to Cafe 1974, but what about overseas visitors? That will help us promote the tour to other tourists.
Commissioner. Thank you, Chair. I thank Mr. Yu for supporting the ICAC exhibition and Cafe 1974. Through him, we also collected views from the sector. Now, about the visitors breakdown, I don't have the figures at hand, but as I understand, on weekdays we received more mainland visitors. On weekends, however, most of the visitors are local. About which provinces these mainland visitors have come from, I'd say that they come from our country, regardless of provinces, because they see our post on social media platforms. About the immersive exhibition, we don't seek to just provide an immersive anti-corruption experience at the exhibition hall. We want to use this interactive technology to turn this into another venue. In fact, we have an upcoming program called Operation 303. Participants will be able to take a half-day tour and gain experience as an ICAC officer. It's now a pilot program. It's hugely popular. We plan to officially launch the activity by the end of this year. And by then, visitors, locals, mainlanders, or otherwise can make booking to join our half-day tour. So it's not just an exhibition. We want to have more interaction. We want visitors to be able to participate in the exhibition. With technology, we can now switch over to different scenes for case investigation, for example. I think this is a highlight. Now, if any member here is interested, you're welcome to join us. Right, we look forward to Operation 303. I think this is kind of a role-playing game. It's going to be such a delight. Mr. Bill Tang will be next, and then I will ask Mr. Ambrose Lam to speak as well. We must adjourn the meeting by 10:45. Please observe the time limit. Yes, I will, Chair. Just one question. A few years ago, the ICAC cracked down on a case involving the third runway project at the airport. The so-called sneakerheads forced workers to pay kickbacks to him, and I really appreciate the ICAC in cracking down on this case. In the past 2 years, However, I've heard similar situations in the construction industry in relation to imported workers and also imported workers in care homes. So I'd like to know from the ICAC what you have done in ensuring that there'll be no kickbacks involved and no deduction of wages for illegal workers. Mr. Ambrose Lam as well, after implementation of the Hong Kong NSL in June 2020, has the ICAC identified any corruption in the electoral processes? Of course, this may not be actual criminal offences. The ICAC may only issue warning letters. Can you tell us what prosecutions have been initiated in relation to elections? Let me take Mr. Tang's question first. Starting from last year, we began to import labor on a larger scale. But before that, we already started preparation. So at the start of the new supplementary labor scheme, we began to take a new approach, and that means proactively our staff would go to construction sites or staff quarters to explain the situation to laborers. Apart from the information kit given to every incoming worker, we also take this proactive approach. In the past year, that is why we received complaints and reports from imported workers. And in fact, we initiated prosecution subsequent to law enforcement operations. If you've noticed, there are actually news reports about various practices, deducting wages from illegal workers, kickbacks, and we uphold the law rigorously because we do not tolerate such illegal acts. This would directly affect Hong Kong. As for election, I'll give the floor to Mr. Yao, Head of Operations Division. Head of Operations. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Lam, for the questions. We have a very clean election culture in Hong Kong, especially after improving the electoral system and enhanced district governance in Hong Kong. There have been a substantial drop in the complaint figures in both LegCo and district council elections. So elections are held in Hong Kong in an orderly manner. Now, regarding the complaint figures, most of the complaints are related to errors in the reporting of electoral expenses. And like Mr. Lam said, usually in these cases we do not initiate a prosecution. We, having sought the DOJ's advice. Now, under the enhanced electoral system in Hong Kong, there is a new provision in the law, and that's Section 27A, inciting others to not to vote or to cast a blank ballot. Now, that's what happened in the 2021 LegCo general election. We took enforcement action against the offenders, and we since then have publicized the relevant matter. That is why we haven't seen the same behavior in the District Council's election 2023. This is also our key priority in the December LegCo election. But I think after rounds of publicity, there is now greater awareness among the public. Right? No other member has indicated they wish to speak. I'd like to thank the ICAC, especially under the leadership of the Commissioner and Mr. Ricky Yao, for the good work of the ICAC, which covers corruption prevention, community relations, and operations. And I'm also a member of the Operations Review Committee, so I witnessed the work of the ICAC. Well, we in terms of protecting a clean culture in Hong Kong, our priority is a public sector comparing to private sector. So I think this is a good demonstration for the global community. Now my question is about listed companies. As of August 2025, we have close to 60 new listed companies in Hong Kong. In terms of corporate governance, I understand that you're preparing to launch a set of guidelines for listed companies. May I know the progress? Well, it's almost ready for publication. The Hong Kong Exchanges and Clearing Limited has also incorporated that in the corporate governance guide for boards and directors. Now, at the moment, this is for voluntary compliance. It takes time for people to adapt, and there is a concern about increased costs. So we can't force it on others. We need to explain to others the merit of adopting the new guidelines. So what we're doing is that we're working with other organizations and companies. We will prepare training programs and we'll also include other elements. Our ultimate goal is to build a brand. Thank you. That's all for this item. I thank the Commissioner for ICAC and the team for maintaining a clean culture in Hong Kong. Anything else? If there's nothing under AOB, then that's the end of today's meeting. This is the last panel meeting of the term. I'd like to thank the Secretariat and Legal Advisor for their support. Thank you.